Good morning. Happy Friday to everyone. I have a message here from my first speaker, so I'm not sure if that means she can't make it or something's going on or she's got tech issues. So I'm going to go listen to her message because I just came in from walking my dog, so he'd be okay for 6 hours. Your hair looks beautiful. You look amazing. I haven't seen you in such a long time, Nikki.
It is so good to be here, and what better day to be back than sitting on your summit. So
Right? It's so
thank
much
you so
fun.
much.
So
Thank
much
you so much for the invitation and being here. It's always amazing. So
always. You are
amazing
always welcome.
speakers.
You are always welcome here. I am gonna let Nikki. Well, first of all, the name of our series today of our summit is Authentic Leadership. And what's more fun than being authentic? What's harder than being authentic? Did you all know? Like, I know the people in the world of vibration and healing and whatnot understand the concept of love being the big, beautiful, high vibe energy. But did you know that authenticity actually has a higher vibration than love does, even? Isn't that amazing? And so maybe that's the reason it's hard to sometimes let ourselves go. Like, it requires a lot of confidence, a lot of self worth, and a lot of self love, like a really firm, strong foundation of self love to allow yourself to come on here. It's like, oh, people are like, oh, you were doing this, you were doing that on camera. So what? Who cares? People like authenticity.
Yeah.
I still have a larger following than they do because they're so uptight and they're good people. They mean well. They just have this misconception that they need to be perfect somehow. Who's perfect in this world? I mean, on one level, the answer to that question is nobody. On the other side, everybody, right? So we're all perfect the way that we are. And having imperfections, I think, makes us all the more interesting. So, on that note, I'm going to let you listen to Nikki Cruise, and she's going to tell you all about her wonderful self. In fact, I'd really like it if Nikki shared her story, if you don't mind, Nikki,
Okay.
a little bit. We will talk about the supplement. We could talk a little about them now too, but let me go and see what's going on with my first speaker. So, with that, I give you the amazing Mrs. Nikki Cruise.
Well, thank you very much, Mary Ann. And it is so true. It's sometimes so difficult to be authentic in a world of comparison and labels and all the rest. And you just Hey, one thing I've learned, be yourself. But to be yourself, you have to actually know and have clarity in who you are. Because when you don't, and when you don't really know who you are and what your purpose is, you start grasping at what everybody else is doing and being. And then you start trying to be somebody else. Let me tell you a secret, be yourself. Everybody else is taken, you know? And I really learned this when I know some of you have heard my story, but I spent 11 years in a wheelchair and was eventually told I would never walk again. And I was angry because the world saw me in a certain way. And let me correct that. I assumed everybody saw me in that certain way. And when you feel like other people are seeing you in a certain way, whether it's negative or positive, you start behaving like that. That's not authentic at all. What you get to do is believe in yourself and bring your authentic self forward, regardless of how other people see you, because that's their vision. But the people you connect with on a true level, on that vibrant, on that frequency level, will see you as you truly are, whether you're putting a mask on and showing yourself up differently or not. People see through it. And that's where the power of being authentic comes in, because it's such hard work to keep up any pretense. And sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it. We just keep up with going on with what we think is expected of us. And it is exhausting. It's exhausting. So if you're feeling worn out, maybe find a bit of that root of what brings you your own joy. Because when I chose to be the best version of myself, regardless of whether I was in that wheelchair or walking, that's when I found my true self. I found my smile. I found my gratitude. And when you are grateful for who you are, you become rooted in that. And that brings your authenticity forward. You know, that's where the power lies in the impact you can make on the world, because we all have a purpose. We all have something to bring forward. And when you stand in who you truly are, you are already equipped to bring that power forward. So when you sit around and you try and be somebody else, it's hard work and you never really make the impact you want. And that's when you become disappointed, because you're not disappointed in yourself because it's not your true self that you are actually bringing forward. Does that make sense? Drop in the comments if you can relate to that. If you feel and have felt that exhaustion at trying to meet targets that don't actually meet up with who you want to be. And being authentic doesn't mean showing up defeated when you feel defeated. Being authentic means believing in yourself and showing up the way you want to be. You know, I believe so often we get hit with things and we feel crushed and we feel just a little bit overwhelmed. Well, you know what? That's not authentic to come over and say, I am overwhelmed, because the truth is, you aren't overwhelmed. You feel overwhelmed. You have the power within yourself to choose something different. And it's not inauthentic to show up as your best self. Not at all. In fact, I truly believe you get to show up and live out the best version of yourself that is to come. You know, people talk about the 2.1 version of themselves instead of just being themselves. So being authentic isn't about always being perfect. In fact, it's the opposite. And sometimes you just have to choose to let people be disappointed and show them how true you are to who you are, rather than true to who they want you to be. We live in a world that's got so much chaos because people don't know who they are. Be your authentic self. Dig in, find out who you are, because you have an incredible purpose to bring forward to the world, and it doesn't look like anybody else. So you've heard a little bit of my story. You haven't heard that I'm now healed and walking. After 3 months of choosing gratitude, after 3 months of choosing to recognize my smile, regardless of how other people saw me, those positive thoughts that went into my brain. Any of you heard of neuroplasticity? What you put into your brain can actually heal or damage your body. Well, that, and along with God's miraculous working power, I am now walking, I'm healed, and I'm bringing my authentic self forward. And it's not always that easy. It's a journey, and you learn to do it. And you walk with the crowd. You swim with the dolphins who are going to forgive you and keep you on track when you're not quite being your authentic self, and can say to you in love, hey, is this really you? Because it is easy to get distracted and to jump off onto all the things that look so shiny and glorious that other people are doing. They're not for you. And if you step into that, you lose yourself. To dress in your authentic clothing, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and go forward and make the impact you were called to make. Thank you so much, Marianne. I love sharing. So Thank you for that opportunity.
And I love listening to your story, and it's so strong, so powerful, and so inspirational. So Lori has some really bad weather and therefore no internet. And she goes, I can't really use my phone because that's kind of in and out as well. So we're a little bit out of luck. Unless something changes, she's going to keep trying to hop in. And she sounds good. She's in good spirits. And I'm sure she's
Good.
got lots to do. So, you know what? This is the way it rolls sometimes. Sometimes you win, and sometimes you win and improvise. And you know what? What better place than authentic leadership, right?
Absolutely. Where you show up as not being in control of everything all the time. That
Oh,
control thing, that's a big deal.
I think I'm never in control. That's what I think. I think everything is orchestrated by a higher power. Let's just keep it there. And you know what? Yeah. And you got to be ready for anything. I think it was, who was I speaking with? Jose. And he goes, wow. He goes, I've never seen anyone pivot so fast. And I'm like, look, I run a summit every single month. Are you kidding me? It's virtual. Technology is technology. You can't control it no matter how much you think you can control a little bit of it. But I mean, I have, at any given time, I have two computers just in case one caves and the other one comes in. I also have a phone somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I have a tablet too. And somewhere in the back, buried in the back, I have a laptop. So I have more technology than I want, but you can't control it. If there's no internet, there's no internet. If the weather's bad and you live in a remote place like she does, you know, I live in the city, so most of the time I have internet. But oh my gosh, like, what about all the times we don't? And I live like right in the city. So if I'm not having internet, probably no one else is.
Yeah.
And we're in a building that has, you know, like we're solid. We're about as solid as it's going to get. So it happens. It is what it is, right? Like you have to, and this is the kind of thing you have to be ready. Now what? I don't even know what we're going to talk about. Who knows what's going to, you know, come into my head to, oh, yeah, I should talk about that. But I do know that authenticity is fantastic and it's such a high vibration. And so, how do you pull yourself out? How do you pull yourself, Nikki, out of like a low vibe place? Like, let's face it, we all have our,
Yeah.
let's call it a lower vibe day, like a down day where things are maybe not, maybe we woke up feeling with some sort of pain in our body, in our head, and somewhere in our feelings, in our energy.
Yeah. I
Um,
think
what do you do?
I think for me, the first thing to do is to recognize it and
Right?
acknowledge it. You know, we so often say, oh, well, I shouldn't feel like this. Well, that shouldn't gets to go out the window. But if you don't acknowledge where you're at, how do you deal with it? So acknowledge where you're at and maybe look at if there's any practical reason why. You know, maybe you didn't take your vitamins. So you're feeling low energy, then take your vitamins. Don't overlook the practical. Yes, yes, take your good old supplements. And then find gratitude for the good things, and your energy will change immediately. Immediately. So those are my things. And if I need to, I call a friend for a good pep talk, you know,
Mhm.
because that always brings me up. Listen to positivity, which is the last thing you feel like doing. So it involves some discipline. So yeah, those are my main things. But recognizing and then finding gratitude are the biggest things for me.
It's true. I find gratitude is let me see what works this fast. It's better than, and I don't want to use any brand names and get in trouble, but any kind of a painkiller, right? Like you have a
Yeah.
headache, so now you take a painkiller. I think gratitude works faster than that. So, like, I have a gratitude journal. I think it's in my bedroom. I don't want to look for it because sometimes I have to have it there because the energy, let's face it, the energy has been very intense. This week, unless you live under a rock, you must know that we just had a strawberry full moon. If I hear the word strawberry full moon one more time, but it's true. It just means that the moon was the closest to the earth that it gets. And I don't care what you believe in, and I don't care how much you're going to come up against me on this. I really don't. But you give this a little bit of thought. If the moon can direct the ocean, and if it can affect an ocean and the tide, an ocean, how big is an ocean? Our bodies are made of 70+% water, something to that tune. I mean, I know there's people that disagree on the actual numbers, but even if it's just 50%, which it isn't, it's more than that. But even if it was 50%, do you actually think the moon would not be able to affect us? If we're made up of that much water, you better believe that the moon has an effect on us. There's a reason why the police stations, the hospitals, the fire departments are all busy on a full moon. So the moon being closer to the earth means more energy of the moon. And moons are all about letting go and releasing. New moons are all about creating and manifesting new things. So when it's a strawberry moon and it's close to the earth, how much releasing do you think you're going to be doing? Do you think you have a choice in releasing? Yeah, you could fight it if you want. I don't recommend it. I recommend you find something that you're going to let go of, because things will come up for you. I had things come up for me in this moon. Things I haven't thought about in years, people I haven't seen in years. I couldn't believe it. Like, and good and bad. No, not bad. I shouldn't say bad. I don't think there was anything really bad. It was just, oh yeah, I forgot all about that person. Oh yeah, they're doing this. Okay, well, that's great. Different things have happened. Yeah. And yeah. You know what? That kind of an energy on someone who's a little bit weaker, like the elderly. We had some issues with, some older people. We had some people pass away. We had some people get sick and then not get sick. Some people just get, everyone was jittery. I think every one of my friends, every one of my clients called me extra. All my coaching clients were with me extra time. It was a busy, busy week. So when you're in an energy like that, literally the best, safest, easiest, quickest way to try to make yourself calm is gratitude. So grab a gratitude journal, like actually call the journal gratitude. And if you can't, just go to the dollar store. Like we have them all over North America. They're not that expensive. Get anything, get a piece of paper if you don't have a journal. I have I don't even know. I think I went out and I probably had something like 27 journals that I counted. And then I went out, I don't know where I was, and I picked up 3 more, because why not have 30 when you could, like, why would you want to have 27 when you could have 30? Because I need one. I don't, but I like them, right? They're pretty, and it gives me joy to write in them versus just regular paper. But if you don't have anything else, take some regular paper and start. And even if you don't have paper and you hate writing, start saying in your head, okay, I'm super grateful for so-and-so. I'm super grateful for him, her. Start naming people, animals, situations. I'm grateful my bills are paid. I'm grateful, I don't know, I'm going here on vacation. I'm grateful I have a great family. I'm grateful for anything. Immediately the energy shifts, your body becomes lighter. It's funny because I had a little bit of stress. I think it was yesterday around something. And I've been really watching what I eat, and I lost 12 pounds. I'm so happy. I lost 12 pounds of my winter weight. So I'm going for a few more. And I was so happy. And I've been eating better and feeling better and therefore sleeping better, except for this week, which there's been a lot of getting up super extra early, so very little sleep. But that too shall pass. And so I was like, oh, this is great. And then so I hit up this little bit of stress, and I was feeling a little anxious around a situation, and I'm like, okay, I better go do some breathing. So breath work is the other way. So if you need something tangible and physical, right? And if you need something more tangible and physical, meditation with extreme breath work. I mean, like, something not like, oh, no, let's do some breath work. Let's get some oxygen into your body fast. When you have a lot of oxygen in your body, you can't be miserable and you can't be overly stressed and you can't be mad. Well, you might be a little bit, but not a ton and not as much. And so that will definitely help. We should do some. Do you want to do some breath work, Nikki? Let's do it. So I do something. We're not going to do this now. I'm just saying a long time ago. So I've been trained in Kundalini yoga. I'm a certified Kundalini yoga teacher. And so I haven't taught yoga. I taught it for 27 years. And so I haven't taught the yoga part recently, but I do teach the meditation. And I still do my own yoga and my own extra breathing. And so one of the things I do with breathing, and this is just as a form of extra information, one of the things I enjoy doing is holding my breath and sort of working my way up to holding my breath longer and longer. So I used to be able to do it. I think at one point I was doing maybe 4 minutes, but that was a very short time. But the last time I did it, like before the last month, when I started back to doing that, I did 3 minutes and 15 seconds. That was the last thing I did. And so I've been working and working my way up. And 2 days ago, I did 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So that's a long time to hold your breath. Now that is a lot for me. For my friend Sifu, who's going to be on at 10 o'clock, he does it, and he does stuff while he's doing it. Like he'll do it when he's swimming underwater. And I'm like, oh, dude, I'd like aspire to be like you one day. But you know what? I'm super happy if I can hold my breath in a meditation and getting up to 3 minutes and 20. And I've been working my way up. And the first day, even though I've done it numerous times in the past, and my breathing is pretty good because I do regular breath work, I still, when I first started, couldn't barely reach a minute, like barely. And then, a minute, 10 seconds, 15, had to build it up. And I'm so excited now. Now, it doesn't mean I do 3 minutes and 20 seconds every time. Like I have to have enough sleep. I have to, be in good state. I like having my meditation music if I can, or I'm outside in the park where there's good fresh air. So we too have been having some fires in the north. So we've had some of that air come down. So the air hasn't been all that clean. So it's been kind of tough to do deep breathing outside, but air conditioning is good. Because that's not toxic. In my head, it's not toxic. Anyways, so we did that. So we're not going to do that here, but let's do it a little bit. Okay. So we'll go like this. We'll start with the box breathing, which I think most people know what that is. So we're going to inhale for 4. Here. Hold for 4. And then exhale for 4. And then we're going to hold the exhale for 4. And that's where the healing takes place, in the holding of the exhale. Inhale for 4. Hold it for 4. And exhale for 4. Hold the exhale. And you can continue doing this now for a bit. So the healing takes place in the holding of the exhale and the inhale. That's where wonderful things happen. And so what tends to happen? So now I'm 63. So I'm a little more conscious of, my body's starting to feel things I've never felt before. So as we get older, our lungs tend to tighten up a bit and shrivel up. I don't want to say shrivel up because that gives a horrible picture, but kind of that's what happens. So the inhale and then holding the inhale actually expands your lungs. Like it's that easy and it's free and you can do it. But guess what? You have to do it because if you just know about it, that's not enough. You actually have to do it to make it work. And so that's kind of what I do. Mind you, we do have an air. I don't know if Nikki's got some. We have an excellent supplement that really helps to clean out your lungs and strengthen them. And we've done some really great work. I use it whenever I get a cold and mostly for allergies because I do suffer from some seasonal allergies. Now, having said that, because of MLS, I have been able to clean up some of my microbiome and my allergies are nowhere near what they used to be. I used to have to take a product that was over the counter that shall remain nameless. I used to take it 3 months of the year in spring and 2 months of the year in fall. And I used to take it 3 times a day. And when I first discovered APL Go, which we will talk about more later, I started taking that instead of the other product because APL Go's product is 100% natural. So it was easy to take and there was no damage and there was actually repair going on, right? So I used to take it 3 times a day minimum for 3 months. Same, I just substituted. But then I started taking something called the metabolic reset. And I took it for more than a month and I took some of it and I still take MLS quite a bit. It really does clean up your microbiome like nobody's business. And that's where a lot of allergies come from because your body is toxic and that's why you have huge allergies. And so therefore my body was toxic and well, I'm sure it still is, but not nearly as much. I mean, no one's, I like my ice cream. What can I say?
I must say that the air for me has been amazing. Being asthmatic, when you get that flare up, if you sit down and you start taking your asthma sprays every single time, sometimes you get a bit shaky as a result.
Yeah.
Whereas when you take the air, it actually does work pretty fast. It's not kind of immediate like a spray, but then it's not having all that negative effect on your body. And air is something I take regularly because whether you're asthmatic or whether you're just reacting to pollen or the dust and dirt in the air or anything else, that air really does help my breathing. It just opens up my chest and it is amazing. Now, that's not to say I don't need to take any of my medication because that's obviously, but on top of it, it is absolutely fantastic and it tastes so good. Unfortunately, I don't have one of my boxes at hand, but it tastes good. It's fun.
Good.
So
they all taste good. And it's not just about the air, but the difference between taking the supplements and taking the spray, which I also had, the doctors gave me everything. I mean, anything. And sometimes it's an emergency and you do need it. But I mean, and I've helped various people that have been on oxygen tanks are no longer on them. Like it's too much. The other one that I added to the regime regularly was this one. So in 2020, this particular product won the Immune Booster of the Year out of 423 products. That's pretty good, I think. And this one boosts your immune system. It's also the cause of, I couldn't get my hair back this morning. These little hairs kept popping out. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here? And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been taking these twice a day and my hair's growing like crazy. So these make my hair grow and my nails. And it's funny because I had this issue with this nail here and I'm going, wow, it's almost like a full nail. I love it. So it boosts your immune system, and part of your immune system being good and healthy is that hair will grow, and so will nails. The things that are supposed to grow are going to grow. Hopefully, there's no tumors growing, but you know, air, hair, and nails that is supposed to grow, and I've been taking like a lot of it. The other day, I was looking at my hair in the, you know, how when you have the light in the bathroom and it's so bright, you can see everything. And I had like a billion of these little tiny hairs this big
Wow.
all over the place. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to put hairspray on this. What's going on here? Like, but I love it. I mean, it's great. So,
Yeah.
boy, let me tell you, menopause will do a number on you. It'll take down some hair, it'll take down all kinds of different things. But I also find, and I don't know about you, Nikki, if you've been using this as much as I have, but our newest product, I can't say enough about this. And I can't specifically say exactly this, and this. We were talking about it when we went to Dominica. There was a whole bunch of us using it. And I'm like, it's a stem cell regenerator and a telomere extender. So it's just overall anti-aging. That's what I should really call it, just anti-aging. That's what it is. And I can't say specifically, here you go, my nails are, you know, but it's just overall, like I only got 3 hours sleep last night because I worked really late and there was all this stuff and this, that, and the other. And I got up at 4. And anyways, it's okay. It's not like this doesn't happen all the time. I get to sleep in tomorrow a little bit. So no worries. I just have a crazy busy day today, not just with the summit, but afterwards I have some real estate to deal with. And it's, I don't feel as tired as I would have in the past. Maybe not quite like when I was 20 and I could just bounce out of bed into the shower and bounce into the car and bounce to work or wherever or school. But just, I feel better. Everything is easier. The stress of whatever is easier. Everything in my body just seems to be easier. So
I think just more vibrancy,
mm-hmm.
you know, and I wouldn't call it energy, but more, it's
More
almost more peaceful and easy to do things, I would say. You
mm-hmm.
know, as you say, like when you were younger. Were things easier when we were younger?
Everything
Yeah.
was easier. Everything was easier.
I I read an interesting post yesterday that said you shouldn't eat Rice Krispies when you're a child because as you get older, you just keep hearing snap, crackle, and pop. Well, we get to avoid that by taking care of our bodies. And there are some amazing things that Apple Go really provides. So replace your snap, crackle, and pop with a couple of lozenges. How's that?
I love that. I love that. I love that. That's such a, yeah. I feel like some mornings are snap, crackle, and pop. Although I had a friend of mine too. Her mom was having some trouble sleeping, and I had given her some relax, and she was having some indigestion. So I gave her an ice. Ices are a digestive enzyme. I know another one that
Amazing.
is irreplaceable. Not only is ice, and I'm going to say this and hope that everything's okay. But ice is not only a remarkable digestive enzyme and also same thing made from the DNA of the plant, just like everything else we have, but it also helps to, now I'm just going to say it this way because I think that's the way it is. I don't think that it does, I don't think it does big stones, but I think it takes smaller gallstones and it crushes them and it just turns them into powder and then you urinate them out. And so I do have a friend that suffers a lot from gallstones. She does this funky thing with Coca-Cola and olive oil, and you have to drink that and sleep on the right side. And then in the morning, it flushes everything out. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that. And I don't really have that much trouble with my gallstones, or I've never had any trouble with it. Yeah. So I just recently discovered that black coffee is really good for the liver. And when you go into menopause, your liver tends to get a little fattier. So that whole fatty liver isn't just for alcoholics. It's not just, it's the food, it's everything. It processes, hormones. So when you get into menopause, chances of you having a fatty liver are pretty high unless you are super extra balanced. So when I found out that black coffee is actually good for it, I was like, woohoo!
Yeah.
I love black
Well,
coffee.
I I don't have the gallstones problem, but I suffer really badly from reflux.
Oh, yes.
And there are times at night when I wake up with my throat burning and my ears burning, and ice is the only thing that works straight away.
Mm-hmm.
It really, I mean, that's why I don't have anything else, but I've got my ice right here ready to take. And you can't take too much. You don't have to wait like hours before you take the next one. But it really does. It's very quick acting. And I've recommended it to a couple of people, and they've also said they've had the same result. So, hey, if you suffer from that reflux, I recommend you get in touch with Marianne, get in touch with me, because it really is good stuff. And I know Marianne's going to be digging into it later. I won't be here because unfortunately I have another commitment. However, it's exciting to be here, and hang in there if you're waiting for our speakers. There is an amazing lineup of speakers today. Have your notepads ready. And one thing about authenticity and that waking up and having a bad day, we talk about mindset so often, but when you're waking up with that bad day, one of the first things you get to do to be your authentic self is look at what are the lies that you are sharing and thinking and believing. What are those things that aren't really true about you? Because that's what makes us feel that low frequency. Those are the thoughts going through our mind. Things you get to do. And we all know that we all know that's okay. I did the same thing a moment ago. We all know that we get to take those thoughts and flip them, not because what we are flipping them to isn't real, but because that is part of our 2.1 part of ourselves. That's the best version. When you start believing better for yourself, you start having that hope, you start having that energy, and that will lift your frequency. That will lift those vibrations to bring forward more positivity. So don't forget about the control you have over your own mind. It's your mind. Take control of it. Take responsibility for what you're putting into it. There's my pep talk for the moment.
Oh, I like that. It's true. Responsibility, I think, is a huge part of life in general. It's the cure for many, many things, if you ask me. If you understand that you don't need to be looking to someone else to tell you what to do. I mean, you can certainly take into consideration what works for me, what works for Nikki, what works for all these other really remarkable people that are going to come on today and speak. That's great. You're free to certainly use anything that we say, but don't make your life about other people. Do what works for you. For some people, journaling doesn't work. For me, journaling is phenomenal, and it's been scientifically proven. The neuroscience behind the hand writing and the brain is huge, and it's talked about all the time now, so we know it works. But do whatever works for you. People are always asking me, what do you do? And I go, I live very close purposely. I live very close to my favorite park. I spend a lot of time there. Yesterday I had a day that was back to back to back to back to back. Like it was one of the most intense days I've had until about 5:30. I finally made it to the park by 5:30. I was like, had to walk the dog, let him do his business, and then went to the park, sat on a bench, and just meditated by the water. It was just beautiful. That's me. That might not be you. Maybe you want to do something in your backyard. Maybe you want to do, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you do. Maybe you like dancing. Maybe you like other things. I'm a big meditator. I love that. I love doing my breath work. even though the fires and the air was a little hazier than it should have been, but it was okay. It was okay. No, like no, yesterday wasn't as bad. It wasn't great, but it was okay. And
I like to craft. Some people need to have some form of active relaxation.
mhm,
And I find, or as you people say in the States, craft. I
mhm,
like to craft. I do beadwork. I just draw or sketch. I write poetry. Anything to get those creative juices flowing
mm,
out of you and who you are. And that brings relaxation and peace. But it's also just taking your focus off all the busyness and the to-do list. When
mhm.
your to-do list becomes longer than your peace list, you've got a problem. And, and perhaps you're focusing on things that aren't part of what will bring you to your purpose. Now, there's a good time to be busy, but it shouldn't be a badge of honor,
Right.
and rather be productive than busy, because that's what's become the fashion, to be busy.
Busy,
And
busy.
yeah, I fall into it every now and then. I get busy, 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 busy. Don't have time for what's important,
Mhm.
personally and business wise. And I have to look and readjust and pivot a little because I want to stay in alignment with who I am and my purpose. Be authentic all at once. Tough work challenging those three, but it's worth the effort.
So wonderful. So, so wonderful. You know what? I get busy all the time. Today's a busy day. Today's a busy day. It's all good. I get to host the summit. I get to listen. I also get to benefit because most of everything I've already heard because I know a lot of these speakers. But you know what? Every once in a while, you get to hear something, anything. Each one has something to say
Yeah.
that I may not have heard, or even if I've heard it, who cares? It's good to hear again, right? Repetitive is okay when it's fun. And it's okay. It's okay to do that. So, yeah, but yeah, a lot of people go into art. What about painting? What about painting? What about, oh my God, drawing? Like people are so talented, and sometimes we have to go get this job until we pay off the student loan, until we pay off the debt, until we pay off the car, until we pay off, I don't know, whatever, the mortgage, the this, the that. But then you get to do the painting or the jewelry or I don't know, whatever. Writing is a big huge release. I mean, that's a lot of people like to write poetry. I'm not a poet, but I can appreciate it and I like it. So it's good. There's some great, and we have some great talent, and we have a lot of great talent in our group here too.
Yeah. And if you don't know what it is that is that space, then try things. Maybe you've been so busy that you've forgotten what brings you that peace. So go and try things. And you know what? I love to paint. Would I sell any of that artwork? Absolutely not, because it's not of that kind of quality and it's not a competition. The only thing you're doing is releasing what works for you. But just let whatever brings you peace come out and make it a regular practice, because there is power in that. You're empowering yourself and you're giving yourself value. When we don't take time for ourselves, we're actually belittling ourselves. So if you want to be the authentic you that shows up powerfully, respect yourself enough to take that time for yourself, because nobody else will ever treat you any better than you treat yourself. There's a big one. Why would other people give you time if you don't give yourself time? Really? And it makes everything come together and work. So when you're stepping out, when you start living as the person you want to be in the future, you get to make that time for yourself, because isn't that what it's all about? Living in a in a lifestyle of freedom. Why do we make money? So that we can live a better life. Part of that is serving ourselves and having the freedom we want to have, being able to do the things we want to do in business and personally. So begin to elevate yourself authentically as who you are becoming. Be now who you are becoming. And that's about as authentic as you can get, because you're opening the doorways to your true self, to who you are, to who you want to be. And there's power in that. But you have to believe it. You have to see it. And that comes from those kinds of peace and meditation. So I encourage you, if you haven't found your soft spot, your quiet place, make an attempt to find it. And if you found one, drop it in the comments here, because it might give other people ideas of what to do. And I know when Sifu comes on, he's going to have some amazing ones, because Sifu is amazing at the peace. When he speaks, he's so peaceful. And I always want to say to him, how do you maintain that peace? But we all have our own ways of doing it, because we're all different people. So what are you going to do for your peace? What are you doing specifically this weekend for your peace, Marianne?
Oh, for my peace, I'm sleeping in tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a couple of Zooms and then I'm going to the park. I may, if the weather's okay, they did say rain, so I'm not really sure if it's going to be open house season, but I may do open house. And then I'm going to go to the park with my dog. We're going to go for a nice walk and then we're going to stay there. And then I'm going to stay at home Saturday night for a change. Last weekend, I was consumed with there was a death in the friendship circle. So it was kind of emotional and everything all at once. And we were all busy with everything. And this weekend, it's going to be that. If I do an open house, that's nothing to me. That's barely work. That's 2 hours at a house that I'm selling. Like that's fun, actually. And then I get to talk to people. How about you?
Well, I'm teaching kids church, and I love to be around kids.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy that you put in, but you never walk away from this bunch of kids feeling anything but energized and joyful, and the interactions. And I put a lot of energy out in that. And at the moment, I've got to be a little bit careful of that. However, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. And I get energized by that. So that's an energy piece, but I'm looking forward to doing some rearranging at home, just gently changing things around. Excited that my sister might be coming out from South Africa soon. So she's waiting for a visa. So that is super exciting. And I'm just slowly getting ready for her and making the space around me the way I want it to be. That's my finding peace this weekend.
Nikki, is she coming for a visit or is she moving here?
No, she's coming for a visit. Coming for a
Nice.
visit.
Very, very
Waiting
nice.
on a visa at the moment, but she'll be here for about 3 weeks. So
That's beautiful. That's so nice, right? Because you haven't seen her in how long?
it's been a couple of years. She's actually been here 3 years ago, and then I saw her after I did my TEDx talk. I went back home to visit my family, and I saw her then. So that was a year ago. So time flies, hey.
And it's so far, it's such a far trip, right? How many hours is it to get to South Africa when you fly?
When I've flown there, we fly via London and then down, and including the wait times, it's a 30-hour trip from door to door, 35 door to door.
Nikki lives in
And
Dallas.
yes, and it is exhausting,
That
but you get there and it's a different world. The monkeys are out eating my mom's avocados and sitting outside her kitchen window looking in, and it's gorgeous. gorgeous. So it had been, when I went back, it had been 13 years since
Wow,
I'd been back, and yeah, since I'd seen them, because of my time in the wheelchair. I
right.
obviously couldn't fly,
That would
and
be
to go
hard.
back was beautiful.
I'm trying to make this public on my page, and I don't know how anymore because they've changed something and it doesn't give me the option. So I'm going to try on my computer. So thank you for taking the reins on this. I've got someone who's
Okay,
trying
I
to,
think I have it public on my page at the moment, I think.
yeah, and I'm trying to see if
So,
I can.
yeah, we all get into this thing with I don't know if any of the rest of you have noticed, but Facebook has changed a lot of stuff. So has Zoom, and there are a lot of things changing all around, and we can let those things frustrate us. But does that fix anything? Absolutely not. So the best thing to do is ask, reach out to other people. And I very often don't ask because I have this thing of, well, what if I look stupid? Well, if I look stupid, I look stupid, but then I won't be stupid because I will know the answer. And stupid, I know, is not a word we use in America. However, isn't that sometimes how you feel? And it isn't the truth. Just because you don't know everything doesn't make you any less. It gives you the opportunity to find out. And when you don't know, you get to ask because we have super people around us. I don't know about you guys, but the circle of friends you have will really empower you. And I have incredible people like Marianne, like Tammy, like Sifu, who are in my circle. I also have an incredible intimate circle of ladies who are always there to encourage, support, and find out. When you work as a team, when you have people around you, you can be yourself and say, I don't know, I don't have it all together. Because if somebody tells me they have it all together, I kind of wonder a little. I wonder
They're
because,
lying.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
lying for sure because I don't
Where's,
know anyone who's perfect.
yeah, where's the integrity? And I don't really want to be around people who think they've got it all together.
And you know what? It's not, I mean, there's certain things you could certainly, have
Yeah,
together in your life. That's kind of what we do. All of this personal development is to get us to a better place. Certainly, I'm in a far better place now than, 20 or 30 or 40 years ago.
yep,
But perfect? No. No. If you think you're perfect, one, you probably don't have the self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth, and self-love to be able to share. Like you just are too scared to do anything because who knows what happened
yeah,
who knows what your story is, right? Like there's so many stories, and I totally understand all of the happenings in the world. I get it, but it's okay. It's okay to not be perfect. In fact, it's better. People can relate to you, and then they think, "Oh wow, you know what? I'm not perfect either, but I can go have that, right?" But that whole level of that every single thing has to be perfect. Oh my gosh, what a hard life, right?
don't set the bar that don't set the bar that low. Put the bar higher so that you can always be
Great,
striving to something.
right? So perfect. Hi, Sifu. Thanks for joining. He probably just came off of one of his own. So Facebook changed something, Sifu. Maybe you can help me with this. And I can't seem to change my video to public, and I don't know how.
Facebook has been having a couple of issues. It didn't let me stream the other day, and
Yeah.
then I noticed that earlier I logged on and I heard you beautiful ladies speaking, and I heard that Lori had trouble with the internet.
Oh, Lori.
And
Yeah,
then
Lori lives in a
then
bit of
I just had Jose on one of my shows, and I said, Jose, I gotta go. And then I come to log in, and it said I had to update. And so I'm over there, oh my gosh. And then it asked me for my password. I'm like, where's my password? So I had to go through a couple of hoops. I jumped, I skipped. Here I am.
Well, there you go. And so thank you, Nikki, so much for chatting with
Well,
me. We chatted a little bit about everything because we had a full hour, and poor Lori out in she lives in a little bit of the countryside. So when you're out of the city, chances of you having bad internet are unfortunately easier. But with all of that, thank you again, Nikki. Stay as long as you can or as long as you like. And